Welcome, low ego action heroes and phoenixes. Oh, looks like my microphone is a little bit low. Can people hear me okay? Oh, I see it. It's low, 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 low. That should be better. Okay, hi everybody. I'm Debbie from dcx, and I am here broadcasting live on the usual Wednesday Ask Me Anything, hi Ana Lucia, where you can ask any question you have on the planet, and I will do my best to answer it and give you free advice. I promise it is worth what you paid. Oh, good. Yes, I accidentally had my volume low. Sorry about that. So, before we get started, we do have one question that came in ahead of time that I will be answering, even though it was addressed to me and Dr. Nick. It's just going to be me today. You can ask your questions live in the chat. They'll pop up on the screen like this. Oh, let me turn on my backlight. Or you can ask them anonymously, especially if you have a long story to tell, and you can send that to dcx.to/Q for question, and that will come into my email, and I can fish it out and copy and paste it and get it on the screen. So I also want to remind everybody, please join our Discord community. It is free. It is active. We've got almost 600 people there. It is one of the few growing communities I've seen lately, so come on over. And in fact, today in the community, we were talking about Sarah Duty's $3,000 career strategy lab. So after I answer the first question we have, I want to know if any of you tried it or took it or know someone who did, because for that amount of money, wow, I expect you to make me a sandwich. But I'm curious if anybody found success for it or knows people who didn't find a job after it, did find a job after it. We can't just cherry pick the people who succeeded. There might be many people who paid for that and unfortunately did not. So I want to know. All right, so let's start out with the first question that came in a week or so ago. It is very long, so I'm just going to write this. I'm going to read it out to you. I've got it here behind the scenes. We got a long story from one of our community members who gave their name, but I'm not going to give their name because I didn't know if they wanted me to say it. So this person wanted to hear from me and Dr. Nick, but sorry, just me today. And here's what they wrote. I want to share some good news that I graduated with a master's degree in UX. That being said, how do I recover and let go of this type of burnout that happened to me during my fourth semester? I remember back in November 2024, I made a post on the dcx Slack group, now kind of dead, so everybody come to Discord, about a time I had to join a new group for a class project because my old group, not all, but 1 to 2 people, were unnecessarily burning me out like crazy. This included micromanagement, pressure to get things perfect quick, having to think exactly like the others, and out of the blue, blame being put on me, despite me doing the work and communicating my process. In October of 2024, I sent an email to the past group I was leaving because of the burnout. However, I made a huge mistake in the email where I apologized for holding the group back and made myself look like I was the problem. I realized over time that I was never the problem, but the old group was seriously toxic. There were times where I felt like I dealt with minor gaslighting. One of them was questioning if I was doing the masters for a good reason. Part of me wants to email certain people from the past group and take back the apology, vent all my frustrations, and call them out for their micromanagement, gaslighting, and how much they really pissed me off. Things got so stressed at certain times, I almost sacrificed personal things in my life. Needless to say, that never happened. So that was the email that we got. And thanks to that person for telling us that story, a very personal story and a difficult one of going through a school project situation with some not so nice teammates. Yeah, Ana Lucia says, let it go. And I think what I would say about that is, yes, I mean, the answer to the short version of the question, which I can put up on the screen now that we've heard this, is, let's see, let's see. I'll copy paste this piece and put it up on the screen. So in answer to the most direct part of the question is, should you email these people back and say, wait a minute, I'm not the problem, you all suck, and you pissed me off and you stink? I'm going to go with no on that one, mostly because I think when we fantasize about those communications, we imagine, I'm going to send them an email, I'm going to tell them they suck, and cool, I'm going to feel much better, job done, mission accomplished. And we don't imagine that these people might write us back, they might harass us, they might spread rumors about us, they might post to social media about us, they might screenshot the email and share it around. People do some really ugly things when people are toxic. And I would say if there isn't a really great reason to reach out to people and say, hi, by the way, I forgot to tell you 7 months ago how much I hate you and how much you suck, I think there's probably no good reason for that. And it probably won't make you feel as better as you think. I would probably spend your own time in therapy, life coaching, self-care to try to get yourself to a point where you can look back and say, you know what? I didn't handle that as well as I could have. I wish that I had handled that differently. At the time, I thought it would be best to fall on the sword and say, it's me, I'm the problem, I'm so bad, I'm holding the group back, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll leave. And now I realize I got fooled. I got played. I fell for the toxic stuff. I fell for the gaslighting. How can I become stronger in the future? That's going to happen to me again. You are going to meet toxic people in the future. How can you work with your own personal development to not fall for that in the future? That doesn't mean in next time you tell people, hey, you suck, I hate you, you're terrible, but at least you can quietly get yourself out of a situation and not take unnecessary blame as they might want you to. Ana Lucia says, don't email anyone. Don't talk to them again. Let them be toxic somewhere else. They're no longer your problem. If you reach out, you're making it your problem and you're already out. Totally agree. Ana Lucia says, embrace your freedom. Embrace your self-esteem. You already know the truth and now use that experience to be a better person. Totally agree. And what I'm adding to that is, and recognize some of the personality traits you might have or cultural things or whatever it might be that might have made you susceptible to that type of toxicity and manipulation in the first place. Because usually toxic people know who's going to be susceptible to that, who's going to fall for that, who's going to bend over and break, and they love to target those people. And it's good to just develop a little bit more armor and resilience so that if you run into those behaviors again, you could say, you know what? I'm being gaslit again, I'm being manipulated, I'm being played with, I'm being lied to or lied about, whatever it is. I'm going to leave this group, but I don't have to say it's my fault. I can just say, this isn't a match. It looks like we don't work well together. You don't have to say, fuck you, you're the worst people ever, and you don't have to say, gee, it was my fault, I'm holding you back. You can just say, you know what, this isn't a match. And so I'm going to, I'll move on and I will pick a different working group. Thank you. Thank you and good luck. You know, it's neutral and it takes a lot of practice because you want to write to people and say, you are the devil and you are a terrible person and I can't believe you believe in God because God thinks you're terrible. You want to say all these things and you think you'll feel better, but I usually don't want to light too many fires under toxic people because toxic people tend to feel like they need to get revenge and then you end up in a cycle. Ana Lucia says, working on boundaries is a lifelong issue for me and for many people. Many people, especially because we get so many messages throughout our life about not having boundaries. oh, it's okay if this person says this to you. They're probably joking. Oh, it's okay if that person pushed you. They're just being kids. Oh, it's okay if that person did that. They probably like you and don't know how to express themselves. We've all heard these very, very hurtful, manipulative, untrue things, and some of us have been hurt worse than others, but I've been hurt by these things. You've been hurt by these things, and it's so important to recognize these and, as Ana Lucia said, strengthen and further develop those senses of personal boundaries. So hopefully we've given some good help and advice to the original person who sent in the question. Thank you for that. This is Ask Me Anything, normally broadcast on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Italy time. If there's something I can help you with, you can always send in a question 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to dcx.to, /Q, and that'll come into my email, and I save it for the next show we do, just like I did with this question. Ana Lucia says, also, another note, unfortunately, not everyone will like you. You may try your best and still have trouble with some kinds of people. You have to accept that you simply don't mesh, and you don't have to. Work together for how long you need to and then let it go. Yeah, I signed up for a reciprocal coaching program because I'm doing life coaching. Some of you know that, dcx.coach. And it was an opportunity for coaches to coach each other for practice. And I got matched with a woman who came to my first session where I was the coach. And I went through my usual first session stuff, and she loved it. She loved it. She thought it was so interesting. She was so happy to get to know me. She said many positive things. It looked like we would have a very good reciprocal coaching relationship, which is usually 6 sessions in this program. And then she was mad at me. She was mad at me that I marked that first session as our first session when it was really a get to know you and goals session. And my thought was, that's normally a first coaching session, is getting to know people and their goals. So why wouldn't I mark that as the first session? And I said, well, look, if for some reason you're bothered that I marked that as the first session and you wanted 6 coaching sessions for this program, I'll give you 6 coaching sessions. We'll have the first get to know you session, and then you can have 6. Oh, thank you, Iced Fires. And she was just so, every time I wrote to her, she was still angry at me about that. And she couldn't decide if she wanted 5 more sessions with me or 6 more sessions with me. But no matter what we wrote to each other, she would always bring it up again and be like, I can't believe you marked that as the first session. That's wrong. You're breaking the rules and blah, blah. And finally, I just said, I don't think I should coach you. You know, you haven't booked with me again in weeks. This doesn't seem to be a priority. And we clearly don't get along. And then she acted like, no, I want to speak my mind about you. You broke the rules and you did this wrong. And I said, you know what? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if I'm the devil here or not. We don't get along. We shouldn't be in a coaching relationship. I think we can agree on that. And I marked us done. And I exited that program, and I lost the money I'd paid to be in the program. But it was like, you know what? I'm just going to walk away from this because it doesn't make sense. As much as I want the coaching practice and the hours, it doesn't make sense to put myself in front of this person for 5 or 6 more coaching sessions where we clearly don't get along. It's better for me to take myself out of the situation, even if I lose a little bit of money and some things I wanted to get out of that. Ana Lucia says, personally, I had a lot of trouble coming to this realization. I wanted everyone to like me. I thought people did. But no, I found out some people didn't. And there was no actual reason for it. They said, just because. I won't have answers. And I won't reach out. I don't care. If they don't like me, they don't have to. I don't feel guilty. I'm a good person and I'm not doing anyone harm. So no. Thank you and goodbye. Yep, totally agree with Ana Lucia on that one. People may have good or bad reasons for not liking you, and you can't get wrapped up in it. If 2 people don't like each other, it's okay for them to not be in touch. It's okay for them to not be friends. It's okay for them to create distance and boundaries between each other. So yeah, thank you for that. It's the kind of topic that we can really go on forever with because it plays into so many things that a lot of us are very sensitive about and have struggled in many cases for decades. A lot of this stuff tends to be left over from childhood, between childhood issues and cultural stuff. It can take a very long time and very often a lot of therapy to undo a lot of these messages. So yes, just taking a look at what's going on. So let me ask the other question again. And if you're not watching live, maybe you can type something in the YouTube chat. Um, so let's see. We have an ongoing conversation today in our Discord where someone asked if anybody has had experience with the $3,000 CSL, I think it's called Career Strategy League or something like that, Career Strategy something, from Sarah Duty. It evidently costs $3,000 and you get some personal feedback, but other than that, you seem to get peer feedback. I found that with a lot of these systems online where people put you into programs and the person who runs the program, like me or Sarah or somebody else, they're not as around and involved as you might hope. They tend to say, well, you'll get a lot of peer feedback. Hey, guess what? I'm not paying $3,000 to hear what Ana Lucia thinks of me, a career strategy lab. Thanks, Melanie. No offense to Ana Lucia, but I'm not paying $3,000 to hear what Ana Lucia thinks of my resume or CV or portfolio. I can get that feedback for a lot less. I charge $50 for that feedback. So I think peer feedback, we're giving each other peer feedback in Discord and it's free. So I think that peer feedback or should not be a selling point. And we had a similar conversation in Discord when people were talking about the Never Search Alone program, that some people felt the value of that was a bit dubious because you end up in a peer coaching group. You're not necessarily getting coaching or advice from the famous author who runs the thing, and it's all supposed to be a bunch of out of work people helping a bunch of out of work people. So I have no knowledge of Sarah's program. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know if it's successful or not, and I don't know how often it's successful or not. I don't know how successful it is for people in 2025 when the world keeps changing. Maybe it was more successful years ago when it was easier for people to get jobs. And for $3,000, Sarah polished you up a little bit and sent you out there, and you had a much better chance of getting a job. Now that so many people can't get a job, even with extensive experience and fantastic resumes and CVs and portfolios, can $3,000 still get you the job? We had another question like this in our Discord where someone told me, actually, it was a private message I think I got in Discord where someone said, hey, I got one or two messages from someone on LinkedIn who was trying to sell me for thousands of dollars some sort of program or coaching that was going to help me create a personal brand. And that's why I ended up writing that article on personal brands, which we'll be doing on a future Tuesday live stream. I don't think a personal brand is what's missing for any of us, and I don't think a personal brand gets you the job, and in some cases I think it doesn't get you the job. Ana Lucia says, I couldn't even give you any feedback about that because we aren't on the same level. That's a good point. Like peer feedback, but we're kind of not peers. Your feedback to me would be quite helpful, but it wouldn't be reciprocated. I'd love to help. Yeah, that's a good question. So if I'm in a program, I have lots of experience. And if I'm in a program with Melanie, Melanie's my peer. If I'm in a program with Ana Lucia, no offense, Ana Lucia is a great person. Met her in person. Highly recommended as a friend and a worker. And same for Melanie, but not exactly my peer. So I could be overpaying for, and Ana Lucia might feel under pressure to give me advice or give me feedback on my resume, might not be great feedback. So in general, I think that while online communities are important and I want to see people being part of online communities, let's make sure that these are online communities that are positive, helpful, giving you something that you need. I think sometimes people look at the communities they're in and they go, what am I doing here? This isn't worth my time. I've heard that about some of the Reddit groups where people feel like there's just a lot of toxicity or everybody's complaining. And you have to decide, as we talk about in the Life After Tech book, you have to decide how you want to use your time and your headspace. You can use it in toxic communities, or you could use it in things that don't push your boat out, but it's okay to walk away from these things. Forget the sunk cost fallacy. Sure, you might have been part of that community for years, but if the community now sucks or isn't greatly helping you in some way, don't do it. It's okay to leave. You can leave my communities if they're not helping you. I find that we have people absolutely come and go. I find that when times are better for them, they tend to go. And when times are tougher for them, they tend to come back. I notice this, and that's okay. I'm happy that you think of us when you need help. That's what our community is about. And if you don't constantly need help, I can see that you might not want to be there, but I would also hope that if you have times when you don't need help, you come and give some help. Ana Lucia says, I'm also not sure how helpful a junior's advice would be to another junior, for example. Aren't they going through the same troubles? And who knows if that person isn't malicious? Yeah, we've had this conversation so many times over the years in Slack and on this channel and in Discord. There's a lot of stuff that I think is flawed in some of these peer-to-peer models where the idea is you're going to get a lot of advice or feedback, or we saw that also with Google's Coursera course, that Google didn't look at your homework. Other people in the course looked at your homework. Well, that makes no sense. They're just learning this too. Those are not the people who should be looking at your homework. So in general, I think a lot of these you're going to have peer advice is flawed. If you want that, great, but it shouldn't cost $3,000. Iced Fire says, when I see threads where juniors give advice to juniors or say their stuff looks great, it is a bit bizarre. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely bizarre. And I've seen people gaslit about that as well many years ago, might even be pre-pandemic. I remember one of the boot camps that was starting to be a little bit controversial because it was a shitty boot camp. They were famous for, as soon as people graduated, they hired them as an instructor. So you were learning from someone who just learned UX and never had a job in it. And a lot of us, people who were seniors and experienced, and we thought like, this is ridiculous. This makes no sense. These are not the people you should be learning from. You should be learning from people with extensive work experience. And the boot camp put out this big thing saying, oh, you don't have to learn how to tie your shoes from someone with a PhD. You just have to learn how to tie your shoes from someone who already knows how to tie their shoes. And it was like, that is not exactly what's going on here. And it was a false equivalency. And we see those a lot. We saw a lot of false equivalencies when we fought over design thinking and democratization, where people said, oh yeah, anyone can do UX research just like anybody can cook. But not everybody cooks well. Not everybody cooks something that would pass the health department standards. These aren't the same things. Okay, Amon's got a question. Let's take a look at it. Let me copy it and get it up on the screen. Thanks for joining us on LinkedIn. And let's see. Amon says, oops, too big. Now we'll never know. Hold on. By the way, thanks to everybody for putting up with my blippy internet. We still have no internet. It's been over 2 months, and in fact, we canceled our internet service because they refused to fix it. So we are on hotspots, and I know that's not great for streaming, so thank you for your patience. Okay, Amon says, hi, Debbie. I'd like to know how to identify when is the right moment to speak in a meeting where all are senior level peers. Would they think, how can he speak? Or what is he speaking? Um, oh gosh, Ana Lucia says, I saw someone cooking a lasagna while using their dishwasher. No, not everyone can cook. Yes. So I think, Aman, I think some of what you're talking about could be cultural. So my question would be, do you work in a workplace or culture where they welcome everybody to speak, whether that's having an opinion or asking a question or delivering some insights or sharing your ideas? If you're in a workplace or culture where someone is going to think kind of what you're saying, like, why are you speaking? You're the newbie here. That is a not supportive culture, a not supportive workplace. And it's tough because you're going to have to think about, what do I want to say? Is this the right thing to say to this group? And that's hard because naturally you're thinking, hey, I've got something to say. I just want to say it. And naturally I want to tell you, you have something to say. I want to hear it. But I'm a supportive person. If you're in an unsupportive environment, then we have to be more careful about this. I'll give you an example of this. So let me put a link in the chat. It'll come up on the screen. dcx.to. Hold on, let me dump that. It's going to dump into Twitch, but it'll come up on the screen. So dcx.coach is my coaching website. And you don't have to sign up for coaching with me. I'm going to show you something you can do for free. On the Take Action page, there's a page called Take Action. Take Action has a bunch of exercises that you can do. Again, whether or not you're getting coaching from me, so there is no sales pitch here. One of the exercises, and thanks to community member Ilaria for co-inventing it with me, it's called Zones of Trust. And it's an exercise that you might want to try, which asks you to take a look at your workplace, for example, and maybe your personal life as well. But think about, what types of things do you want to talk about or not talk about with certain people? Where do you have a supportive environment who wants to hear those things from you or encourages you to share those? And where do you have a less supportive or not supportive environment where unfortunately it would be safer if you said less or said something different or maybe decided to speak much more rarely? Again, this is a very controversial topic because people will say to me, don't tell this person to shut up, or don't tell this person to wear a mask. I understand. I wish that my advice to you could be yourself, follow your heart, say everything you want to say in the meeting. But you're telling me that your gut tells you, I'm not sure I should always say what's on my mind in a meeting with certain people. And I say, your gut might be right. I have to do the same thing. There's lots of things that I shouldn't say in certain meetings or around certain people. Either I've already gotten in trouble for it and I don't want to do it again, or I just have the feeling this is the group that does not want to hear this. And so I have to decide, what do I say right now? Do I say something? Do I say nothing? How do I say it? When do I say it? These are decisions that I go through plenty. And again, it's unfortunate because we hear a lot of messages about be yourself and follow your heart and speak your mind and share your truth. And I say, you know what? That's what life should be like with our friendships. I know if I sit down with Melanie, I've got endless trust for Melanie. I will tell her anything about anything because I'm safe. She's not going to mess with my life and she's not going to mess with my job. My zone of trust exercise, I'm going to put Melanie in a high trust place. But there are other people, current coworkers, former coworkers, where I know there are some things I just shouldn't say around these people, it's not going to be taken the way I mean it. It's not going to go well. I even had that in a meeting the other day. I said something that I thought people would agree with, and someone took it very badly, and now I'm going to have to say it differently or more carefully or not at all if I want to bring up that topic again. This is navigating stuff with coworkers and trying to avoid that conflict. I hope that the people you're working with want to hear from you, even if you're junior or you're the intern or you're the mid-level or you're new or whatever it is. I would hope that you're in a supportive place that wants to hear from you. But, if you know that they might not, then you have to decide what do I say where and how, and the zones of trust exercise might help you think that out a little bit. Sarah Freeman, good to see you. Depending on the variables, like Debbie mentioned, you can gain as much momentum sometimes by going to your direct manager or contact first and strategizing the socialization of your idea. Yeah, I mean, Sarah has been a fantastic customer service leader for over 17 years. She knows her stuff. She knows about managing people, and she's totally right. And that is something that you can try to navigate with your manager, both the idea of what's the right way to say this? When should I say it? How should I say it? Can you help me get my ideas out to this team? Or hey, you're my manager. You want to see me succeed. How can you help set me up for success? There's something I want to share with this team. So thank you. Thank you to Sarah for reminding me of something that I had not mentioned, which was the idea of working with your manager, who we hope will be supportive, but we understand is sometimes also part of the problem, unfortunately. So hopefully you've got some support there. And Ana Lucia says, usually your coworkers aren't your friends, but it doesn't mean you have to be friends to share your professional opinion. It depends on the company's culture. Yeah, it's really all about what you want to say and how you're going to say it. It's tough, and it's something that evolves over time. Even someone like me, I'm 53 years old. I'm still navigating this stuff. Could we turn on all the air conditioners maybe? I'm on my headset so that we don't have the sound. On. There's no air conditioning on. I'm roasting. I don't know about you. I'm sweating through my clothes. Hi, everybody. This is Ask Me Anything, our Wednesday show, and we didn't turn on our air conditioners today. It is 31 Celsius at my desk. Please enjoy. And I'm just sweating through my clothes. So, please enjoy my natural, glistening, glowing look today. Thank you, honey, for turning on the air conditioners. So, hey, if you have air conditioners, run them. But I hope that helps. And Aman, thank you for that question and for opening up about this. And if you have a follow-up question or anything to add to it, let me know. Feel free to join our Discord. Remember, everybody, our Discord is free. It is for everybody. Our slogan is supporting you, wherever you are on life's and works paths. Oh, hooray, an anonymous question is coming in. Let's see what it says. Oh, good night, everybody. Okay, let's put our new question on the screen. Thank you to the anonymous person who sent it in. And it looks like this. It says, how important is it to invest in good copywriting for your website? Or is the success of a website really in other things like ads and just becoming present or top of mind? What I'm thinking of is specifically staffing and hiring services. What a super question. Oh, wow. This is really going to get us thinking. I love it. Okay, and let me make sure I put this and our oh, good. Another anonymous thing is coming in. Let me just check if it's a different question or if it's someone adding to that question. Sometimes people add to it and I don't see it in time and then they're mad at me. Let me take a quick look. Separate question. Okay, thank you to the second question. We'll put you on the list. You'll be next. But for now, we're going to answer this question first, and then we'll get to you next. First come, first served, everybody. So let's talk a little bit about websites. And of course, if you happen to be from UX, as many people in my community are, then you might be thinking about this. If you're not coming from UX, totally fine. Our channel is for everybody. So when it comes to a website, there's a lot of things that we must think about to make sure that it works for the people who are visiting it. Now, first of all, there's how do they get to the website? How do they hear about you? Is that from some marketing or advertising you do, like ads or being present or something like that? So first you have to get people to your website, and that's usually some sort of advertising or marketing, spreading the word. Now they're on your website. Now you have to make sure you have a compelling message and offer. What's compelling to your website? To your audience? I don't know. I'm not familiar with your audience, and you're saying it's staffing and hiring services, but usually you want to show that you understand the problems or challenges that your audience has and how you are going to solve or improve those. And so that means the copy would have to be good. People are going to read that copy. Not everyone will read all of it, but somebody that's interested in what you do might read at least some of what's on your website. If the copy is sloppy or bad grammar or spelling mistakes, you can look unprofessional and people might judge you. That's the bottom line. You know, if your dentist had really bad teeth, you would wonder if they're a good dentist, even though they can't do their own dentistry. We just form impressions of people, right or wrong. And so some of what people are going to judge when they see your website is going to be its designs, its layouts. Does it seem modern? Does it seem secure? And does this person get me? When we land on sometimes I land on a website and I go, I can't even tell what these people do. It's like so much buzzwords and lingo, or it's so generic, or it's so chat GPT'd, I can't tell what this person even does. And then I leave. So how important is good copywriting? I think it's really important because it's part of a bunch of all the things that are important for your website. If someone gets to your website and the copy and other things on the site don't tell the story of, we know you need help, services, products, whatever, we do this. We offer this. We've got you. We take care of this. So I recently helped one of my best friends with her website, and the way that we did it was we did a phone call that we recorded, and we talked for about an hour. And I asked her a series of questions about her work. I said, what are the different types of work you do? She says, oh, I focus on 6 main services. Okay, let's get through those services. For each of those services, tell me why a company would need you. What's going on in a company's universe that they need someone like you? Oh, well, this is happening, that's happening, this is happening. That okay, cool. And tell me more about that. Oh, yeah, that blah, blah. And then I said, okay, and then what do you do about that? Oh, yeah, I can offer this, this, and this. And I go, and then what are the outcomes or results? Oh, from working with me, they'll save time, save money, be more compliant, whatever it was. And we recorded that for an hour. And then I fed it into Claude. And I said, hey, Claude, I'm going to need a whole bunch of web pages for my best friend's website, and I need the copy. Now, some people right now who are writers might say, oh, Deb, how dare you? We're writers. We want to be hired. Please hire writers. You can absolutely hire writers. I'm not trying to take business away from writers. I'm only saying that in these tough times, if people do not have the budget for writers, a lot of us are using LLMs, and I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you about this. This is where we are. So yes, I would love to see writers hired. I've hired them in the past. That is not what I did this time. And I said, hey, Claude, here's a transcript of my conversation with one of my best friends about her new consulting business. And I would like you to take this and make a homepage, a services page summarizing the services, and a detailed service page for each service. And I want to make sure that you've got a lot of keywords in there so that this hopefully will be good for SEO and that she can show up in search. And Claude wrote a bunch of stuff, and then she and I went through it personally and edited it, improved upon it, removed stuff, added stuff. And so we started with ourselves, and then we had some help from Claude, and then we gave it a pass ourselves. Ana Lucia says, one of the companies I'm interested in is hiring a UX writer. I'm impressed. Yeah, absolutely. I think the company where I work now has some marketing people doing writing, so it's not UX writing, but we do have writers. Good writing is important. You can definitely write it yourself. Totally fine. But just make sure you read it out loud, you spell check it, and you check it again. Sometimes I find typos on my own website. Okay, we're all human, but still take the time to read it out loud, check it, write it as well as you have, as you can. Invest in good copywriting. If you know a good writer, work with a human, please. So I do think that all of these are important. Thank you for that super question, and good luck with your new business. By the way, did you see my live stream yesterday about starting a new business? That's episode 272. Come on over to dcx Hive on YouTube. That's the name of our channel. And find episode 272. You can also find it by going to YouTube and typing dcx272, and you will find it. So come get some advice on starting a business. Let's look at our next question that came in. Thank you to the people sending them in. Someone said, how can I manage burnout or emotional fatigue from constantly advocating for better UX practices in environments that aren't mature or receptive to them? Super interesting. And I do have an article coming out about UX maturity, so I wonder if that will help at all. But let's answer this question now. And in fact, this question is also semi-answered in Customers Know You Suck. Very early in the book, I remind people that a lot of us want to make change in companies. We want to see customers be happier. We want to see UX done better, and we are trying to advocate for better processes and approaches that we believe will lead to more success. But I think it's like page 6 where I say, but take care of yourself. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Yeah, we want to wear a cape and save the day, but sometimes we can't. We're just blocked. So if you find that these people are not receptive to it at all, I give you permission to try a lot less. I know that hurts. People are sending me private messages all over the place right now saying, Debbie, I don't want to give up. I want to keep fighting for UX. I'm going to start a new thing, and we're going to tell everybody the importance of scientific rigor in research. And I go, look, on any other day I'd be with you, but no one's asking for that. That's answering a question nobody has. So I think that give yourself permission to try dialing it down and see if you can use it, do that advocacy more sparingly. Pick and choose your battles. See if you can focus in on some things that have a good chance of showing value and impact, and then see if you can ride off that a little bit and if people become more receptive to that. For example, at my current job, I've just been put on a project to learn why so many people are giving a particular dashboard low survey scores. I can't wait to do that project. I'm sorry that we're getting some low scores, but I'm very excited because that's going to have immediate impact. I'm going to be able to say, thanks to this research I spent 2 or 3 weeks on, we now know exactly what's wrong with this dashboard, and we're going to be able to make it better. And I bet that very quickly we'll see the scores go up. Hypothetically, people should be able to see, oh, wow, when we do research, yeah, this really worked out. I also plant seeds earlier with my teams. So rather than doing PowerPoints and let's have a meeting to talk about the value of research, I just sneak it in places. So for example, I'm working with a team where I'm contracting right now, and I'm going to be starting some generative research for them. And I just find small ways to mention to them like, hey, I'm going to learn all the things that you want to know about people, context, system, tasks, collaborators, decisions, so that I can set you up for success, so that when you go to solve problems or innovate, you're going to understand things better and you're going to solve the right problems well. And you're going to be happy, you're going to look good, and the value of research will be obvious. Those are the types of seeds I'm planting. I'm no longer doing PowerPoints about what is the value of research. I'm no longer doing PowerPoints and meetings on what's the value of UX. I'm just trying to find ways to sneak it in and to plant seeds that the value is going to be obvious. Now, if they're not letting you do good work, it's hard to show the value because the value's not often there because you're blocked from doing better work. Sometimes that's just hard. You can try to fight for, hey, let me do one project in a little bit more of a thorough way. Yeah, it's going to take longer than usual. Yeah, we're not just running another survey, but we're going to learn a lot more. We're going to know a lot more, and I'm curious if that's going to completely change how things happen here. Some people won't like that. They don't want change. Maybe you can do it. So, how do you manage burnout or emotional fatigue? That's going to be mostly therapy, possibly life coaching, but also putting your oxygen mask on and taking your cape off. As one of the biggest fighters for UX in the last 10 years, as I hope I've been, because most of my fighting's been in the last 10 years, I'm giving people permission to save themselves and to pick your battles and to decide when and where it makes sense to really push for UX and when maybe you let it go or drop a small hint or say, okay, you want to do it that way instead? That doesn't happen to match our best practices, but I'll just write down some risks in our Confluence page. And then you gotta go home and look in the mirror and say, I did the best I could in a bad environment. I did the best I could. And every day I'm just going to do the best I can without standing in front of an archery target with people firing arrows at me. It's just not worth it. And maybe you'll find you can make more change when you're the person who is saying it here and there versus constantly advocating for better practices. Try to find any allies you have. Is there a product manager out there who would like to understand the problem space more before trying to solve it? Maybe yes, maybe no. Is there a VP who recently had a project majorly fail and now either needs to figure out why or has to redo it? Go tell them you wanna help them look great and find success. Look for some of those small wins that can then be used as some of those stories. But I'm starting to think that UX maturity is a fable and it is fake. And all we can try to do is talk about quality. So episode 251, shift to conversations about quality. That might help you as well. I recommend episode 251 about shifting conversations towards quality versus focusing on other things. And I don't know what you're saying, so I can't say you're doing a bad job or the wrong thing. But episode 251 might help as well. We've got a few more minutes. Let me see if any other questions came in. Nope, just people signing up for my new Maven cohort. I hate Maven, but I'm going to run another cohort there and see if it sucks less. So far, no, it sucks, but at least I can run a halfway decent cohort there until I figure something else out. We're going to be going through the Life After Tech book. You can do the exercises in your own time, and I will give you personal feedback on all of your exercises. So it's like getting a lot of coaching from me for $49. I hope you'll check it out. You can find it on the event calendar and sign up. It starts in a few weeks. So dcx.to/events. That should lead you there. You'll see it in late July because the event calendar is based on days. Anything else on anybody's mind while you send in any last questions? Let me take a look at the calendar because we do this show every Wednesday and I'll be around all summer. So all of the Wednesday shows should be on time. And then Take Action Tuesday is at 9 p.m. Italy time, so a little later than this show. And Tuesday, the 22nd, I'm going to be doing that personal branding talk. So we are going to be reading an article and opening a discussion about, do you need a personal brand? Do you need a better personal brand? Should you pay someone to help you make a personal brand? Does a personal brand help you get a job? We're going to go through all of that. That's going to be next Tuesday's stream. And remember, all of these streams are free. So no reason to not come or watch them later at 2x because I talk a little slowly. And then press like and leave a comment on YouTube to help us out in the algorithm. So if that is where we are today, I'm going to start our show ending music. And I'll prepare our show ending screen. And just thank everybody for their great questions and conversations today. Oh, sorry, Ice Fires, you left a comment like half an hour ago. I didn't read it out loud. Sorry about that. But yes, it sometimes can be a bit of a certain designer archetype that reacts arrogant or cocky. If that's the environment where the person is, then the healthiest thing is separate from them. Try to be respectful, but if they're disrespectful, you don't have to quietly tolerate it. Yes, thank you. Sorry I didn't read that out earlier when it was relevant. Oh no, a question is coming in. Now I have to stop our music. You silly kids. The question says, okay, I will do this question and then we will start the music again. Wait, 2 questions. You silly kids, what are you waiting for? I've only got 8 more minutes and then I've got I think I have a work meeting today. Let me see. Oh my God, I have a work meeting right after this. I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to answer these questions. We just don't have time today. So good reminder to send your questions in sooner. To the 2 questions I just got, you will be first next week. But unfortunately, I don't have time to answer your questions today because I have a work meeting in about 5 minutes. Sorry about that. If they are questions on fire, bring them to the Discord community and start a chat there. And of course, I will respond and other people will as well. But either way, I will answer these questions first next week. Sorry about that. I gotta run. So music again. And thanks to everybody and see you hopefully on Tuesday. Bye.